Welcome back, digital watch fans, to Vintage Digital Watches. And if you clicked on this video, you are either a subscriber, wondering why I don't post videos, or you have a very expensive watch, a Breitling or a Heuer, that right now is partially working or maybe completely dead. And that is because it contains a module built by ESA, and it is a mouthful. So this is module ESA Y2900231. So yes, that module. And the problem with this module is that they just stop working. Either the analog stops working, or the digital stops working, or they are completely dead. Now, how I got into this problem? Well, I bought this beautiful Yamaha Flygraph. Focus. I mean, just look at those colors. This is a super beautiful watch, but it contained that ESA module, and originally I thought it was an easy fix, either change a component, something that I've done in other watches. But in doing some bit of digging, I did realize that there is no way I could fix this by switching components or any other straightforward fix, because the issue would be with the integrated circuit of the watch. So I started looking for other options. And the first one that came up was this very well put together website, rossar.com, and it is owned by this person that builds replacement modules for super high-end digital watches from the 80s and 90s. I have no affiliation to him, and the work he does is mind-blowing. So to think that he can reproduce with modern components replacement modules for those watches is astonishing. Wonderful words. I don't know what to say. But you would have to pay a price for that, and the price tag matches the prices you would pay for those watches. So it's not cheap, but the investment that this person put into the website and just into the research and building those modules, I think the prices are justified. But I'm a cheapskate, and I like to tinker, so I thought, hey, what if I could find a different way to fix this? And I did come up with a solution. Basically, I'm using a donor module from Ricoh. So Ricoh built this Ana DG watch, and the module is very close to what the ESA module is. The way the digits are displayed, the groups of digits, even close to the functions, even the geometry of the module and where the buttons go. So essentially in this video, what I'm trying to do is adapt this Ricoh module to fit the Yamaha Flygraph. So essentially to use that module as a replacement for the ESA one. And stick around until the end if you want to attempt this yourself. It is doable with the right tools, and I think it can even be refined further. But let's go to the bench and start looking at this conversion. Okay, so here we have the two watches on the bench, and we're going to go through the issues we have to either tackle or live with. Here on this side we have the Swiss module, here we have the Ricoh module, and you can see that they are very close and similar, but there are some things that we won't be able to replicate as with the original. Now the list of issues starts with the indices. The holes in the hour and minutes indices on the Swiss module are actually larger than the ones on the Ricoh module, and I want to use the original indices on the Ricoh module. The next issue is the hole for the minutes and seconds shaft is further apart from the LCD than on the Swiss module, which means the lower part of the LCD is going to be obscured a bit, but not too much, so this I think we can live with. The next problem is the fact that this module has a crown. This one doesn't have a crown. We're going to have to be creative there. I do want to keep the crown, maybe even leave it in as a dummy crown, because you can control the hour and minutes hands on the Ricoh module via the buttons. And one of the most annoying, it might not sound difficult, is the fact that the diameter of this module is 0.5 millimeter larger than the diameter of this module. But I can see that we have some excess plastic we can trim around. So yeah, let's get started with the first issue, and that is find a way to attach these two indices to this module. And just for you to see, better. What the issue is, I fitted our indices from the original module to the Rico module, and you can just see that it won't fit on the arbor because it's too large. My idea is to use a bushing that we could fit over the arbor, and that will essentially close the gap. So the way we're going to create that bushing is we're going to use the old indicator, and you can almost see that the old one fits inside the original one. Alright, next job is to try to make this module fit 100% in this case. And if I sit it down right now, if I'm going to press it in really hard, it will fit. But I don't want that. I want it to have a clear fit. So what I'm going to do is trim off a bit of this excess plastic. Well, it's not excess plastic. Okay, so that wasn't bad at all. It took me only about 5 minutes to go around and just trim all of the excess plastic. Right here on the lower side it was particularly easy because I have this metal plate which was like a guide for me to go through the plastic. And now it fits, yeah, and loads of chips. It fits quite snugly in there. Well, not quite snugly, it has a bit of play. But just the right amount. There we go, so it's in. The issue we're tackling now is the controls, well, the buttons, and luckily in this conversion the position of the buttons is actually almost dead on with the position of the buttons on the Rico module. So the module will go in like this. So what we need to do is solder a piece of brass or button contact, whatever you want to call it, here, just so we can bring closer the contact point. So after digging around in my parts bin, I actually found I have these two very beautiful springs. What we're going to do is we're going to solder this right there. Sorry, like that. And then just cut it to length. And now we're going to cut it to length using flush cutters. There we go. So I didn't have to do much adjustments, and as you can see, the studs do touch the springs. And the last thing we want to tackle is find a way to attach this dial to the module itself. And I believe I have to cut or remove these two studs. Sorry for this beautiful dial, but I'm not touching the face. And I have to cut these down because if I try to drill holes in the module, I will be essentially drilling a hole in that area, which is the battery bay, or I have to drill a hole in this area, which is this metal part, and I have to hit right in between that screw and that existing hole, and that's not going to happen. So I'll just remove these and use very thin double-sided tape and use some on this area and some on that area, and just put it flush on and have it in place like that. The module will be pressed from behind anyway, so I don't think it will be easily detachable even if you drop the watch. And actually this is the first time I'm looking at it, and it fits a lot better than I thought it would. Wow, look at that. Super. And there it is. I'm pretty happy with the alignment. Don't know if it's a bit crooked or what, but yeah, it looks pretty good. It's stays on, it's snugly fit. Time to attach the indices and do a test in the watch. Now what we have to do is, this module does not have a crown. There we go. So the original module had a crown, but we're just going to have to fit it in and leave it as a dummy crown. So I found a suitable crown which I've screwed in, and now we're going to cut it to length. And we'll just have to leave enough on the other side to find some way of attaching it. Okay, so new plan, because there isn't much space left after I fit the module to fit some sort of nut. I'm going to cut it flush right here and then fill this hole with adhesive silicone. This is just maybe something temporary until I find something more suited for what I need. But right now I'm out of ideas. Let me know if you have a better idea than this. And that, we'll leave it to dry, and it should hold it in place. And even if you try to pull it out, you'll need a lot of force to pull it out. Now that already looks quite amazing, doesn't it? One issue I have is that the module cannot take the original sitting ring, and it will just spin around, and I don't have a ring to put in, and making one would imply I'm using tools that maybe people at home trying to replicate this don't have. So I'll just cheat and go the quicker route and just use some more silicone. I'll set the module as straight as I can and then just add some blobs in places where I know it won't get in contact with parts from the module. Silicone is really nice to use because you have a long working time with it. If you want to remove it, you just let it dry and then cut it away and just remove it. And I think it does also a good job of protecting against shocks. So yeah. So that's that. I'm going to apply in a few small areas a bit more and then let it set. After the silicone has set, the movement is really nice and stuck in there. If I ever need to remove it, it's just a matter of doing small cuts of the silicone and then peeling it right off. And that, I think, looks pretty well centered. So don't leave just yet. Join me a couple of minutes where I sort out some of the things that you didn't see in this video, if you want to attempt to do this yourself. So if you made it up until this section, then good for you. It means you really want to attempt this fix. I'll go through 5 pointers, 2 minutes at tops, and these will be stuff I learned doing this fix and things not to do. Okay, so number one is the most important tool is magnification. Use everything you saw was done under 20x magnification, which I also recommend. I used this microscope at 20x. Use whatever magnification you have on hand. Do not attempt this with a naked eye because you really need to see what's going on there. Second point is the hand fitting. Do not attempt to glue the hands. This is a recipe for disaster, no matter if you're working on digital watches or on any other type of watch. If the washer version, if the conversion into bushings of the old hands doesn't work for you, then there is also the option to close the hole in the hand, make it smaller using a staking set, but that's also a bit complicated. Number three is use silicone when fitting the module into the case. Do not use glue. Silicone can be cut later on and it can be peeled off. It also is good for dampening shocks. Number four is do not use glue for setting the dial. So gluing it will, I guarantee you that if you glue it to the module, the dial, when you press the dial, when you squeeze it, the glue will seep into the module and it will jam it. Use very, very thin double-sided sticky tape. Don't use something thicker than 1 millimeter. I think the one that I use is 0.5. It's super thin. Number five is get your Ricoh module from Yahoo Auction Japan or from Sandico. Just get it from Japan. It's cheaper there, even if you pay the taxes and the service for them shipping it to you. Okay, and number six is, it's an additional point, which do I think is better, using this conversion of Ricoh module or the Rosser module? And hands down, I think that the Rosser module is a better, a more correct solution, because you get a one-to-one reproduction in functions. With my version, you get a dummy crown, so the crown is essentially made redundant. And I think it boils down to either how deep are your pockets and how much you like tinkering. If your pockets are deep, then hands down, go for the Rosser module. You will have a better watch in the end. It's a cleaner fix. If you like tinkering, then I guarantee you that converting a Ricoh module will give you greater satisfaction at the end. And that's it. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.